Namaste everyone. In today's video, we're going to focus on Muni Patanjali's Yoga Sutra 4.27. Now in today's Yoga Sutra, we're going to try and understand how exactly this Nirbija Samadhi is different from Dharma Megha and what happens in these gaps that we were talking about that appear in Nirbija Samadhi, where the sense of self keeps going back and forth between understanding the depths of its being versus getting entangled and getting attached to the external world again and again. So let's take a good look at this sutra, start breaking it up word by word and understanding it a little bit better. So the sutra itself goes Tachidreshu Pratyayantarani Sanskarebhyah. Alright, so this is the sutra itself. Now let's start looking at some of the words and start understanding what exactly it stands for. So the first word over here is Tachidreshu. So Tachidreshu is quite a compound word, and here is what this word essentially means. So Tat refers to that, Chidra refers to a particular hole, and then gap or like a gap. And then the next word is Eshu, which is a plural and is combining all of these words into one. So we have Tat, we have whole, we have Chidra, and we have Eshu. And then we say that on the whole, it's saying that in the gaps in that, right? So in the spaces in between that we're trying to understand. Now, what are these spaces in between? So the spaces in between are the places where the self is Atma Bhava is rising once again, and we're starting to get attached to things like the body, the mind, and all the things that we experience in our daily lives. So we're going to understand why exactly and what this is talking about, but this is the meaning of the word for now. Then coming to the next word, we have Pratyaya. Now, Pratyaya we've studied many times before. Pratyaya is referring to the experience or the content within the Chitta. So that is Pratyaya. Then we come to the next word, which is Antara. Now, Antar means something that is different, the difference between or the differentness. And then finally we come to the next word, which is Sanskara. And Sanskara we've been studying for quite a while. It refers to the essential residual impressions that are left behind after certain actions, and is very closely linked to the karma theory and the karmashaya. So these are all the different words all together. Now let's go deeper in and start to understand what exactly is the whole sutra trying to communicate. So the sutra is saying that in the gaps, right, when we have Nirbija Samadhi, there are still some gaps where we have not reached the ultimate level of Nirbija Samadhi. So it's like this. If we imagine a horizontal line depicting the whole Nirbija Samadhi, we probably in the beginning will reach like 10%, 20%. We haven't reached 100% of Nirbija Samadhi. So in the case where we're going 10%, 20%, we just come in a little bit. In those cases, there's going to be a high tendency that we are, going back and forth between the external and internal world. And what I mean by that is in terms of the sense of self being derived from certain external experiences, it's going to be very difficult in the initial stages of Nirbija Samadhi to look at our bodies and say, this is not me. That's very hard to do, even if you are quite an accomplished yogi. Why? The reason is we're still living, we're still engaged with the external world, we have responsibilities and also certain just life maintenance activities to undertake, which makes it difficult to say, I am not the body, I am not the mind. And therefore, even if while doing Nirbija Samadhi, in certain moments, there are glimpses, there is an experience of, yes, I see that I am beyond that and I am something else. Even then, even though those nice experiences are happening, they're sprinkled in with a few Atma Bhava experiences where we still get connected to the body, the external surroundings, all of those things. So therefore, there are some clear gaps in Nirbija Samadhi. It's like going back and forth. And not all the time, but definitely through a large period. Now, due to this gap, right, the times where you are connected to your body and connected to your chitta and your consciousness, what's going to happen is sanskaras are going to act on it. There are going to be maybe some previous karmic sanskaras also that might arise. Sanskaras from your Sabija Samadhi, your previous stages might come back. So when you are in those gaps, there's a high chance for sanskaras and vasanas to rise up and take that place, and through that keeping you again in the material realm and fixating you back into that world. And also this is something very interesting because for example, if a yogi is undertaking the practice of Nirbija Samadhi, it's going to happen over many days. So in week number 1, you might do, say, Nirbija Samadhi, you might practice it for a while, and qualitatively you might experience certain depths of the practice. You might go beyond Atma Bhava and you might experience Vinivritti. You might. And then after a while, again you come back to normal and you are experiencing the normal life once again. So that keeps you attached, keeps you bound to deriving your sense of self from external things and things that are not really the self. So this continues for several weeks. You might be doing Nirbija Samadhi every day, but it's still, these gaps are there. They're taking you back to the real world, then into that world, then into... So you're going through that process. And then once you kind of have practiced it for a very long time, like really perfected Nirbija Samadhi, that is when at the culmination of Nirbija Samadhi comes Dharma Megha Samadhi. And that is the final sort of realm or activity point for us. So this is what the sutra is trying to say, that there are gaps, it is going to happen. It also explains to us that in Sutra 1.51, it seemed as if once you reach Nirbija Samadhi, boom, that's it, everything stops, we're in Nirbija Samadhi. But that also is tricky to look at it that way because it takes time to reach that culmination of Nirbija Samadhi. So we have to factor in the time that it takes while you're actually practicing. And so when you're actually practicing, there are those moments where you haven't perfected the practice yet and you're still on the path and certain distractions, past tendencies, etc. come up. One very simple way in which I'll explain this is when this is oversimplifying it really, but just to get the point across, when you're trying to go onto a sattvic diet, right? I think that's I'm not a big fan of fads and diets, but I think sattvic lifestyle and sattvic diets are great because you're completely cutting out processed food, completely cutting out junk, focusing on raw, fresh, healthy, alive food. So when we do that, what happens is in the initial days when we're just adapting to this new diet, we're going to have a lot of intense cravings, right? You might suddenly want to go eat brownies. You might suddenly want to eat a lot of ice cream, pizzas, etc. It's hard. It's because your mind is conditioned to be a certain way. And now you're telling it, no, I want you to focus on the sattvic diet. So what's going to happen is that those tendencies are still there. And so to overcome those tendencies, we really have to work on ourselves, exercise self-discipline, intellectualize why that's not good for us, etc. Then it takes a while. And then once we put in that initial effort, it becomes effortless to focus on our sattvic diet. And over a period of time, these older distractions probably won't even bother you anymore. So that's kind of like what happens here. You're going into Nirbija Samadhi, takes time. It's like you're adapting to a new diet. And then as you're on that process, old sanskaras keep coming up. Could be from your Sabija Samadhi experience or other experiences. And some could be completely out of even the yoga realm. They could just be really old experiences that are coming back in the gaps on the days that you have low discipline or low process involvement in Nirbija Samadhi. So in that case, all these things could be rising up and then you just have to tide it through, stay with the process, stay with it, and then over time kind of, move across and be so consistent that none of these things bother you anymore. So that is what this Sutra 4.27 is all about. I hope you've enjoyed studying it with us. If you did, please don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Drop your comments in the comment section below. And also don't forget to share this video with your friends and family, especially those that might find it useful and helpful to learn from. And also do not forget to subscribe to our channel so you can hit the bell icon and stay notified with all the videos that we have coming up for you. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I look forward to seeing you in a future class or workshop, the links for which are in the description. Until then, take care, keep practicing, and we'll see you very soon. Namaste.